All right, welcome back. As our culture continues to devolve in this country, we see kids are using apps like TikTok and Instagram to share symptoms of very serious mental illnesses, such as dissociative identity disorder and borderline personality disorder. And in turn, many viewers identify with maybe the social media influencer or whoever's doing it, and the people watching begin to self-diagnose with these illnesses as well. And what it does is it turns it into some kind of a trend. We see a lot of this perhaps with LGBTQ ideology as well, and why those numbers are skyrocketing. Well, the same kind of problems happening with mental health. Some of this is done in good faith by actual sufferers, but many times it glamorizes the condition or normalizes the mental illness. For example, a TikTok video posted with the hashtag BPD for borderline personality disorder, when asked to show characters that have signs of this, as we see here, they feature a Hollywood, very popular actress named Sydney Sweeney. Is from a popular show called Euphoria. She was also in White Lotus, if you saw that, among other popular movies as well. Now, J.D. Haltigan, who is a Ph.D. in this, writing, this glamorization of illness is detrimental to those with clinically diagnosed disorders, as it may cause them to avoid seeking help. And J.D. Haltigan joins us now to talk more about that, and I want to thank you for coming on. You co-authored the article we just pulled that quote from, Social Media and the Rise of Performative Mental Illness. Performative mental illness. Talk about this problem.
Well, Rob, that's right. A lot of what you said in your intro is actually correct. What you're seeing is a lot of these, TikTok especially, is drawing in predominantly adolescent females who may well have some sort of emotional symptomatology, or they might be slightly depressed or looking for social affirmation. And what happens is they begin to take on the identity of one or more mental illnesses or the symptoms. You mentioned BPD. We're seeing on TikTok a whole plurals community, plurals being different identities around dissociative identity disorder. And this is all under a broader umbrella, and you kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier, but a lot of the rise in some of the gender stuff that's happening and we're seeing certainly falls underneath this umbrella. And it's important to have this discussion, because if these individuals are identifying with the disorder rather than trying to get the adequate or the appropriate help for it, it really confounds the whole process, and the disorder becomes sort of glamorized itself rather than something that is treated or addressed.
It's interesting to try and comprehend why somebody would want to be mentally ill, isn't it? I mean, that to me is just is strange.
Well, what you have is actually a personality psychopathology that I think is really what's being drawn out by this algorithmic social media phenomenon. In other words, it's not necessarily a common clinical diagnosis that we think of in the lay public, like depression or anxiety, but rather it's personality psychopathology that's being amplified by these communities that form socially online. So narcissism, and of course you have other personality psychopathologies and disorders like borderline personality. And that's what gets amplified rather than the actual common clinical mental disorder that many sufferers have. So it's important for clinicians, mental health practitioners, and other folks like school counselors and others to be aware of these issues.
Something else. J.D. Haltigan, Ph.D. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Rob.
All right, The Lancet is once among the oldest and most prestigious medical journals in the world, is now moving away from